Hey gardeners, Enoch here with another garden journal on the Urban Gardener. Thank you so much for joining with me here this week. It's been a really great week. We've gotten one big thing accomplished, and it took a little bit of effort. The weather kind of got in the way a little bit. I'll show you that all here just real soon as we've been hardening off our peppers this week, getting ready for our last frost date to finally pass by, and we can start thinking about transplanting all of those peppers that are indoors. Right now I am out in the back area here by the greenhouses where we've got our 5-gallon water wicking buckets, and they're growing out broccoli. I've actually been kind of harvesting a few here and there over the past week as they've been ready, so I've been getting them as they're ready, and kind of just having a lot of broccoli for the last few nights for dinner. So there's even more that are ready right now, and a few more that are coming up here real soon. So as I'm harvesting off the top heads of these broccoli off of the plants, these plants are also producing little side shoots as well, and we're getting also some smaller broccoli florets, which I'll be collecting up here as well. But some of our plants are still putting up some of their crowns, so we're going to give these just another few more days here so I can harvest as much as I can off of these here before we cut them out to transplant our peppers into our 5-gallon wicking buckets and our wooden box that we hold them in here. This will be growing most of our peppers that we grow for this season. So now it's time to take all of these pepper starts that we've been growing under artificial light here indoors for the last several weeks, outdoors for their first trip in the hardening off process. So now that this is the first day that these plants are seeing any sunshine or getting blown around by the actual wind outdoors, they're probably not going to like it very well, and they'll probably start going limp here just about an hour or so. And that's all we're really looking for here on the first day. We're also kind of fortunate that the sun is intermittent and covered by clouds, as it's a mostly cloudy day. So all we got to do is just keep an eye on them. So all right, a couple of hours later here, and these guys are all looking really good. Again, we're really fortunate. We don't have any real harsh sun today with the overcast skies. So off to a really good start. So now we'll just get these back inside and do it all over again tomorrow for day 2. So after a wild weather day yesterday, we've got these peppers back outside. Kind of just going to go ahead and do what we did on day one. So it'll be like day one all over again. We're just going to leave them out here for a couple of hours. And then if there's any sort of wilt or they're having any trouble with being outdoors, we'll bring them right back in. But hopefully they'll be doing all right. We can possibly give them just a little bit more time outdoors if they're looking good today. So for the most part, a couple of hours later here, and most all of the plants are doing pretty good. Couple whipped around by the wind. Oh, we do got a couple here, this one especially, but these ones up front here, they're a little weakened by the sun and the weather out here. It is new to them, so like I said, we'll get them back inside now that I've noticed that, and we'll get them back out again tomorrow for another round. So day 3 now. We're all back outside. Everybody's looking good, looking all recharged for the day. As you can see, these were the ones that were really limp yesterday after being out for a couple of hours. But again, all set to go for today. And hopefully they'll be able to handle another extra hour or two. Moving right along. Next day, everybody's doing really well. We've gone out for, I think we got about 6 to 7 hours today, so not doing too bad. Going right into the evening, it's getting a little bit cooler, and they seem to be holding up pretty well. So tomorrow we're gonna go for an even longer day for most of the day outdoors, so we're only just a couple of days away. These guys should be out all day long. So all right, next day now, and our peppers are looking pretty good. I can tell as these leaves are looking nice and greener. You can see the greener, thicker leaves as the hardening process is starting to really work and take effect now on these plants. And over the last couple of days, though, they've been under clouds and some real filtered sunlight. But as you can see here, we're going to get some really good sunlight coming through here in just a moment as the sun is coming right around the corner. And these guys will get their biggest test of the week so far, and how they handle some of that good sunlight coming. So all right, just a little bit later in the day here. In fact, it's about 8 hours later, and I am really surprised they're doing so well. I'm gonna push it just another hour or so as we get a little further into the evening, and then tomorrow we'll get them out real early, take them back in real late. We should be ready to stay out overnight just another day. Okay, next day, we got them out early today so that they can spend pretty much most of the day out. We're just going to let them hang out until about midnight tonight to get a little bit of that cool night air. And then tomorrow, when they go outside, they'll be outside for good. So after a late night last night, I've brought them out here today nice and early. They've already gotten some pretty good direct sun now. No shade from the tree up front. Some pretty good direct sun, but the clouds did move in this afternoon. Everybody's looking really good. And seeing as how they did so well going into the night last night, it should be warm enough for them to be able to stay out all night. So present day now, we've got a whole nother day actually that they've been out under the sun here in the back area along our greenhouses. And they're all doing really well and taking advantage of the fact that we have been having some pretty cloudy, mostly cloudy days. So they're getting away with a lot of good filtered sunlight, but sun has been peeking out from behind those clouds and kind of hitting some of these plants a little bit too. And you can see on some of them they've got a little bit of wear and tear and sunburn. When they get growing new leaves though, they'll outgrow all of that, and we'll just remove all of those leaves that had trouble. But for the most part, these guys are doing really great, and really excited about getting them transplanted out here real soon. Just as soon as we get a little bit more broccoli out of our buckets, these guys can wait just a few more days. And also just a real quick update from last week's video as well too, where I was showing you this space here in the back patio area where we grow out our Prax cherry tomatoes. They've been volunteering here for us each year now for the past 3-4 seasons now. We've got them. I just let the tomatoes left over, I get as many as I can, and the leftover ones I let drop into the ground, and they just kind of decompose into the ground, leaving the seeds behind. And this last year I let a lot of the fruit actually get into the ground, and as you can see, we've got a lot of little baby tomato sprouts that are coming up, which is going to be really tough later on when we're only picking out probably about 3 or 4 of these. But all I do again is I let the fruit drop, and then it decomposes there, and then just a couple of weeks before last frost approaches, I put about, or I kind of scuffle up the top of the soil there, kind of rough up maybe about the first ½ inch, and then I put about 1 inch of compost on top of that, and that seems to do really good and get them growing really well. So again, we'll catch up with these a little bit later when we got to select those couple of plants that we're going to keep. Also, a checkup on our tomatoes that we planted out back here, because as you saw with the peppers there hardening off this week, we did have some pretty rough weather that these poor things had to deal with in getting started out for the season, and there were some pretty cool nights, and for the most part though, they all did really well. Especially the one I was worried about the most was this one here, because it was just a smaller seedling that I put out here. But as you can see, they're doing really well, looking pretty strong. So yeah, looking really good here. That's the thing about tomatoes. They can handle just a little bit more than what your peppers can handle this time of year. But season's changing, everything's warming up, and all of these should be doing just fine. Also, along the back fence here, just down from where our tomatoes are, we have our container potatoes. And our potatoes in a cardboard box, which are doing really well, looking really good. All of our potatoes are growing really nicely. Now, as I mentioned before, when I planted these out, what we were going to do is wait until these plants got right about here. And then what I wanted to do is fill in these boxes with a little bit more soil and fill them about, I'd say 3/4 full and just allow for those potatoes to get just a little bit more root development there, and hopefully they'll grow out some really good tubers for us later down the season. So one of the things I do want to mention when it comes to filling up, or basically hilling these potatoes. Now, a lot of videos and things will talk about filling up containers in order to grow more potatoes, and that's not what we're looking for at all. That's not actually what's going to happen as you're adding more soil. All we're really actually doing here is kind of protecting those tubers that are going to grow more to the top of the soil, as well as giving more soil structure for roots to develop and hopefully get stronger and bigger tubers with the ones that we already have, not gaining actually more. So in the field they call that hilling up their potatoes. And that's pretty much what we're doing with the containers, is we're just adding a bit more soil to protect the top there, get a little bit more root development. So all right, potatoes are all tucked in, and our peppers are now outside full time. It's really good to get that process of hardening off all finished, and these pepper plants don't have to be growing indoors under artificial light anymore, and we can look forward to them getting planted out into our various garden spaces here in the next upcoming week's videos. We'll get that covered. Plus, this next week, I do got a project that I've been waiting for a while to get done, and a couple of my growing spaces in the alleyway have been on hold, and I haven't been able to grow anything in them until we get this project done. So I'm looking forward to getting that done and taking all of you along with me, along with that project, as well as keep an eye out on Tuesdays, because we're going to get back to our micro pepper farm vlogs. We haven't been doing too many of those videos lately because there just hasn't been much going on, but our starts are getting ready to be planted out here real soon in the next couple of weeks. So we've got to get to work getting those plots ready. So be sure to check out those videos as they come out, coming up here soon on a Tuesday, as well as Tuesdays we do also put out videos on our Johnny Appleseed Organics Gardening Invitational. And over this next week, we're going to be finishing up our competition category videos with our special guests. So be sure to watch out for those videos too. It's great to have all of you along with me here for this great fun garden adventure, especially as things are really getting to growing here in the gardens, as our last frost date has passed and it's just plant, plant, plant now. A really exciting time of the season, and I'm really glad to have you along with me. I'll see you all this next week. They're all growing really, really well. And there's an airplane above us. For these pepper plants, I've got a knife. No. Let's roll it out. Roll it out. Oh. That's where I want to go, though. That's where I want to go. Let's try again. Ay, 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 ay. And I look forward to being able to do that and have you follow along with us here so we can, or, waiting for our